Hey guys, Will here with my friend Lynx,
Hey guys.
and today we're going with the flow. We have a general idea. We're just gonna go with it.
Yeah, so basically a few weeks ago you might have heard us mention the idea of creating like a superhero universe or something along those lines. So we're going to create that today, but we really have not planned out much. We just want to kind of get some eyes out not eyes, get some ideas out there, right? And
Yeah,
and just kind of let you all see the process of us creating this so it can kind of become not only our thing but also your thing.
exactly. So,
But anyways, before we get started, I do have a trivia question, and I also have one of the talking point things we did last week.
is that what we're calling them talking points?
Well, yeah, basically, if you didn't watch last video, we're starting to do this thing where you go up to a random person or someone and you discuss this question. But before we get into that, we're gonna do a trivia question because we can't not do one of those. Okay, you ready, William?
Yep.
So, William is a huge Star Wars fan, and I know this is a difficult question,
No.
but I have confidence in him because I can't even pronounce some of these names.
Oh no.
And Revenge of the Sith.
Oh no.
Who are the Jedi High Council members? Or I guess the Jedi Council. Yeah, High Council.
Like the ones that are seen in Revenge of the Sith,
The ones that
or the
who
ones that like get
who is
killed?
on who is on the Jedi High Council in Revenge of the Sith?
Okay, trying to remember here. So you have,
There is 12, I believe, because
okay,
isn't there always 12?
I believe there's always 12 usually.
Yeah.
So I'll start off with the easy ones. Anakin. Um.
Okay, wait, there's 13.
Okay, because
Sorry.
of Anakin.
Yeah, there's 13.
Yeah. So okay, Anakin. Um.
Mm-hmm.
Obi-Wan. Mace Windu. Yoda. Ki-Adi-Mundi. Plo Koon.
Yes.
I believe. Um. Kit Fisto. I believe is one. Agen Kalor. I believe is another one.
Yes.
Uh. Sasitin. That's a
Yes.
text message. Um. Ooh, oh, I'm trying to think of the. No. I named all the ones that got
There
killed.
is only 12. There
So
is
I've
only 12.
named. I believe I've named 9 of them.
Yeah, I think you're right. You did name 9.
Now
But you
this is
got
where it gets.
Ki-Adi-Mundi, Agen Kolar, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin Skywalker, Yoda, Mace Windu, Plo Koon,
Kit
and then you
Fisto.
said Kit Fisto.
This
And
is where it gets difficult now. Um. Okay, so I for some reason, I want to say Shakti, but I don't think she
you
is.
are correct.
She is? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's 10. Okay. Um, gosh.
You did also say another one, I think.
No, okay, I'll go through it again because I'm pretty sure I remember what I said.
Okay.
So, Anakin,
Yes.
Obi-Wan,
Yes.
Mace Windu,
Mm-hmm.
Yoda,
Okay.
Ki-Adi-Mundi,
Mm-hmm.
Kid Fitzo, Plo Koon, Agen Kalor, Sasitin, um, Shakti. I think
Yes.
it's
And then
the
there's
ones
two
I said.
more. I knew you said Saucy Tin. I just forgot that one.
So the last two, for some reason, I'm seeing in my head the weird dude who has a really long neck.
No, Yarl Poof is not on this one.
Gosh, was he okay? And then I'm also thinking of the weird dude with like the weird fingers and has like a tail. But I think that was Attack of the Clones Council.
Yes. I can't remember that
Gosh,
guy's name.
trying to think what the
Opa
last,
Rancis or something.
yeah,
Right,
something like
something
that.
like that.
But I'm trying to remember these last two or three.
These are really tough. Like one of them,
Coach.
you'll know what they look like, but I didn't. I had no clue this was their name.
Gosh, I'm trying to remember. In my head, I'm showing the council and I'm going through each seat. I'm trying to remember who I'm not mentioning.
One of them is just like I do not remember ever seeing this character really.
It's not coming to me. I have to take the L on this one.
Okay, so there's one named Stas Ali or something like that. You know who I'm talking about?
What was it? You said Stas Ali?
Yeah, I'll type it in the chat. Um,
Let me look her up real quick.
which she looks exactly like the other.
Oh, she died during Order 66.
Yeah, she
She was
looks exactly like someone else though. I can't remember her
Eddie
name.
Gallium.
Yeah. And then there's also a guy, his name is Coleman.
Colin Trebar.
No, that's the guy that died by Django, right?
Yeah, he was also part of the council, though.
Coleman K KCHJ. I have no clue how you pronounce that at all.
Oh my gosh.
Do you know who I'm talking about now?
Yeah, I thought his name was something different, though.
Yeah, I thought it was too, because
I thought it was something Jill. But yeah, when I looked him up, that's okay. So look up. Okay, so also look up Pablo Jill Star Wars on your phone real quick.
1 second. Oh, what the frick?
I thought that's who that was. Um,
Is that not the same person?
I so it says Pablo Jill. I only know him because I remember him in Attack of the Clones. He gets killed during the Battle of Coruscant, so it wouldn't be him on the council at that point. So there's just two of these species of Jedi, I guess. A whole time I thought that was Pablo Jill, but actually Pablo Jill was dead by that point.
I
Dang.
think one of them has a green lightsaber and one has a blue lightsaber
Yeah.
as well. Pablo Jill has the blue lights. So weird. I didn't even know this character existed. The Pablo Jill.
Yeah, that's who I thought the Sajar guy is. I knew who Stas Ali was. I just didn't know that she was on the council.
Honestly, I thought she was the other person.
The one that gets killed
Yeah.
by Savage.
Yeah. So I was pretty confused, but that makes more sense, I guess.
This is actually like her cousin. Like that's like her
Oh,
cousin if I remember right.
interesting.
So I didn't know the last two, but I think I redeemed myself with Pablo Joe and
I
knowing
think you
stuff
did
about
too.
Stasali.
Yes, I agree. Because I honestly really didn't think you were gonna know who these characters even were. What? Probably. I I don't know. I was just very confused for a second because I was like, I thought this person died.
Pablo
But
Joe.
anyways,
Uh,
such a
yeah.
weird
Anyways.
race in Star Wars. Like, not to be, I guess, racist, but
Oh
they
wow.
just look kind of weird. The Star Wars race.
Because they have like a mouth, like where their face, like where their whole face is supposed to be. Then they have like
Yeah,
side eyes and like a triangle head.
yeah.
Yeah.
Look like their head is upside down.
It's kind of weird. Yeah, it's just kind of weird.
Well, anyways, we're gonna get to our talking point or whatever. And this week's is so to preface this, you guys have heard a lot of opinions William and I have. And so I was in a group of friends and we were talking about opinions and everybody's like, "Dude, you have the worst opinions. Like you just have the worst opinions." So, I guess the question for this week is what is a controversial take on a movie that you have? And I feel like that's a pretty good question to ask someone because it's like everybody has a controversial take on a movie, whether it's like, Star Wars or the MCU. It's just, if they watch movies, of course, you got to find the right person. Or you could even rephrase it as, what's your controversial book take if you know a lot of people who read books or something like that. So that's the question for this week, and I guess I'm gonna ask William real quick. We're gonna go through maybe one or two controversial opinions, and then we're gonna continue on to the main topic of the video. So, William, what is a controversial movie take you have?
So I think I mentioned this before, but a lot of people. So I'm a big fan of the Tolkien stuff. It's like Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit. Um, when the Hobbit movies were coming out, I saw every single one of them in the movie theater. I was pretty into it. A lot of people were unsatisfied with it and thought it was kind of like a waste of a trilogy because it didn't need to be a trilogy. But I really like the movies. I will say the middle one drags at some parts, but like Unexpected Journey and Battle of the Armies are really good, and Desolation of Smog has really good parts. But people don't like that movie series, I guess.
Hmm,
So
I have heard that before. Um, you know, it's kind of funny because I asked someone while I'm at work. I asked people questions. I'm like, "Hey, do you have a controversial take on a movie?" Because I was just thinking, like, okay, this would be a good question to ask tomorrow. And someone said, I think the Lord of the Ring movies are overrated. And I was like, whoa, whoa. I
whoa.
was
I
like,
need to
that is a
find this person
controversial take.
and fight them.
Yeah, I was like, that's
I
a very controversial take.
I get it
Um,
if you don't like um okay. I get it if you don't like it. But it can't be overrated. Okay? You can't
yeah,
you cannot like it, but you have to accept how important it is.
for sure. I was just like, okay, I'm gonna leave it there. Like that's something where it's like, oh, I don't know if I can talk too much about that one. But
That's like saying Star Wars is overrated, you
well,
know?
I've heard that too. I've heard people say Star Wars is overrated for so long.
See, here's the thing, right? When it comes to Lord of the Rings and Star Wars, they're both like this beginning or like big parts of their genres. It's like space fantasy. You think Star Wars? They're the ones that made it. I mean, there was
Well,
Star Trek, right?
I would argue Dune originally was like the book series was probably the
I
big
mean, like
thing for
movies, though.
sci-fi. Yes, but movies, yes.
And like Lord of the Rings, I mean, of course, like the Lord of the Rings books and The Hobbit created fantasy. Like that's
Yeah,
what it did. But on the movie side, it really set up fantasies. You know, you don't get a lot of those actually, movie wise.
for sure. Which I get your point. Like it really expanded on fantasy and stuff. So yeah. But anyways, I guess I have a lot of controversial opinions, I suppose.
You do.
Like I know I mention them all the time and you guys are probably like, what the heck, Lincoln? Like but I guess a common one I have is I don't even think this is a fair argument. Like this is not even an argument, I think. I just think this is dumb. It's like I think personally DC is better than Marvel. I don't think that's a I think that's just a preference thing. I don't think that's
Yeah.
really something that's like, oh, that's a controversial opinion. I just think that's a thing of preference.
Oh, I have a.
And
Sorry. You,
I guess another one is um what was something I said that I said I think I talked about this time and time again, but I think they make the MCU characters too dumb. And I know some people are like, well, what are they supposed to do? But I'm like, that's
not
a
be dumb.
controversial opinion of mine. Yeah, I guess.
Here's a controversial opinion. I hate Ahsoka. So
Yes, that is a controversial opinion, as we found out when we said that. We're like, we don't like Ahsoka, and we got so many dislikes. And
I
I think I'm
okay
starting to like Ahsoka more again. It's just
because
like, I just remember early Ahsoka, you know?
honestly, Ahsoka was fine in my book until you haven't seen it, but the final season of Clone Wars.
Yeah, where she
That
beats Maul.
that Ahsoka, because the whole season's about Ahsoka, basically, except for like 4 episodes. Um, it's only 12 episodes, and she annoys the crap out of me. And the power scaling and plot armor in it is kind of crazy because she beat Darth Maul, right? But
Maul
what
is
doesn't
so like underrated. Like he's just so like hated on
I,
in like all Star Wars stuff.
dude, Maul later in Rebels kills people that she has trouble with. He kills the
Yeah, I
Inquisitor
know.
like no problem. And they a lot of people were like the Ahsoka simps. That's what I'm calling them. Are they look at the Ahsoka fight with Darth Vader, which is cool. I agree with that was a cool moment. Um, but they're like, oh, okay, my brother, right, who's just like the
Mhm.
biggest Obi-Wan fan, came to me one time and was telling me how people are arguing that Ahsoka's stronger than Obi-Wan, and the only people that can beat
What?
her are
That's not even a
Darth Vader
question.
and Emperor. And I was like, whoa,
Okay,
whoa, whoa,
hold on a
whoa.
minute. Hold on a minute.
I got
I'm under the impression that Obi-Wan is more powerful than Darth Vader. That's just my opinion,
so
and I know that's very controversial, but
I think
be-
if Anakin had trained more in the dark side, he would have beat Obi-Wan, but he wasn't full power yet. And thanks to Obi-Wan, he never was full power.
yeah, but as Vader is what I'm talking
As
about. Like when he gets the cybernetics.
by the time that Obi-Wan fought Darth Vader again, I don't think you're talking about Ben
You don't
Kenobi.
think so?
Do you think
Yes,
Ben Kenobi? I don't think Ben Kenobi could have beat Darth Vader.
I think he could have.
I I don't think so. I think he was very strong, right? Because he killed Maul like quick.
I
But
guess so, but it's also you do make a
Darth
good point.
Vader's a
Maybe
monster.
I'm wrong. Darth Vader is a monster. I'm just forgetting some of his feats, I suppose. forget what I'm saying. Darth Vader would have beat Obi-Wan regardless, but
But the whole Ahsoka thing just blows me away because there's no way Ahsoka should not have been able to beat Darth Maul. The excuse in my head that I'm giving to like make this okay is that Darth Maul was trying to not kill her and turn to the dark side, and so he wasn't like giving it his all, and he also was kind of just like mentally not with it at that moment, but he like gets it together in the future because like when the cast of rebels is having trouble against the Inquisitors, Darth Maul shows up, kills two of them, and the third one, dies trying to fly away like an idiot. But like
yeah.
I'm sorry, Ahsoka just no way. There's no way. It doesn't make any sense. And you can try to like get at me, bro, but like Ahsoka, trash.
Ahsoka's not trash, but
Okay, her choices that she makes in the final season, I'm just not with it. It's hard to like. I don't want to say anything because you haven't seen the final season. So
yeah, but I know like everything that happens, so you're good to say it.
okay, well, she makes like she says, like when Order 66 happens, she's like, "Oh, I'm not gonna." She's on a ship, so she's the only like Jedi on a ship full of clones.
Mm-hmm.
And she basically cuts a thing out of Rex's head, and she's like, "I'm not gonna kill anyone on here. I'm not gonna let that happen." She kills every single person.
Yeah,
I don't mean like she herself. She forced the ship to crash, and everyone else died. And it's like, if she had just from the start been open about like killing everyone, I would have been like, that's fine. But the fact that she was, I don't know, her decision making just irks me. But that's my controversy. We
I
spent.
guess my controversial Star Wars opinion is I
Mhm.
think Clone Wars ruined Grievous.
I don't think that's controversial. They turned him into like a weekly villain, you know?
Yeah, because in
Um,
Revenge of the Sith, okay, I have some weird fascination with Grievous, like ever since I was younger. I was just always like, oh my gosh, he's freaking awesome. And watching Clone Wars just made me sad because I'm like, what the heck, everybody can beat him.
yeah.
Like it really meant it always meant so much to me because I was like, oh my gosh, Obi-Wan is so awesome because he beat Grievous. But it's just like everybody can beat Grievous. Why does that matter?
Well, it's not that everyone can be Grievous. It's like, uh,
Yeah, but you
okay,
get what
like,
I'm saying, right?
well, Kit Fitzo had a reason. I defend my man Kit. Okay.
I sort of think Kit
Um,
Fisto would have.
I mean, I don't think he would have ultimately won, but the reason why he was able to stand up to him is because of his fighting style. You know, that's
Yeah.
that's what it comes down to. You know, but before we move on,
I can't hear you very well.
General Kenobi.
Oh, you're doing your Grievous. Okay, cool.
I tried to. It didn't work out.
It kind of sounds a little off. Not gonna lie, but it was a good attempt.
This one voice I try to use for Palpatine, Darth Vader, and then Grievous. It's like, Luke, I am your father. Even though that's not the line, it kind of works. But then it's like, henceforth you shall be known as Darth Vader.
I don't know if it works for Palpatine, but it kind of does work for the other two. But you did get the inflection correct on his voice because he goes Darth
Vader.
Vader or something. Like he waits
He
so
says it weird.
long.
Henceforth, you shall be known as Darth Vader.
Yeah.
I love it,
Oh
dude.
my gosh. Okay. Well, anyways, talk to someone about some controversial movie opinions. Maybe you'll have some good conversations. Also, when speaking about this, do not get too defensive. Let them explain their point.
I can't
That's all I'm
believe
going
you
to say
said
about
that,
that.
bro. I'll fight
Yeah.
you.
Even if they say something crazy like, I don't know, like I had someone say they thought Episode 8 was their second favorite movie. That hurt me a little bit out of like the Star Wars movies. Not gonna
Yeah.
lie.
Yeah.
But you know, they have a reason and you gotta listen. And you can
And it's,
disagree, but it's ultimately you're not gonna probably change their opinion.
I think with that reason, it's because they haven't seen any other movie ever.
No, they have.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
But I did ask them, like, did you like just recently become a Star Wars fan? Because usually people who like have those in the top are like new Star Wars fans.
Yeah.
They're like, no, I played like the Lego Star Wars games, and I was like, well, I think you recently became a Star Wars fan. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
But it's whatever.
It's
So
whatever.
we spent the first 30 minutes talking about Star Wars.
Of course. Sorry. Okay,
It
we're gonna get into the universe building.
So, because I recently have taken it upon myself to write a world for the D&D campaign I'm running, I have, I believe, a good way to structure this out. You ready?
Okay, go for it.
First, we got to figure out the kind of world this is, right? How it's
You say
run.
that's before the powers?
Yes. Yes.
Hmm,
The reason
okay.
why. So you could do it the other way where it's like, do you want every person to have the potential to have a nuke in their hand? But my thing is set up the world and then make the powers appropriate for the world instead of making the powers or instead of making the world appropriate for the powers.
So the way I'm looking at it is, at least I would want it somewhat similar to our universe, like DC or Marvel is, right?
Okay.
Would you agree with that? Because it's your
Yes.
universe as well.
Yes. I would
Okay.
agree.
So a more realistic tone.
More contemporary.
And
Contemporary.
do we want powers to be uncommon or a common occurrence?
See, we could go the X-Men route, or we could go the My Hero route.
Hmm.
What? So, would you rather these people be outcasts, or would you rather them be the dominant class?
What if we did more so like a Flash metahuman thing? Like
So,
freak accidents, like Spider-Man. I know that's a different universe. Don't get upset with me. Um, like the freak accident things. Like,
so it's not genetic.
what if there's the idea that there's genetic potential in some people to have superpowers, but certain things cause them?
So, like the Young Justice metagene. I don't know if you've kept up to date with that, but it's like the way it works is every person based on their genes may have this like extra piece of DNA that when they're put through like extreme stress and pain, their metagene activates. and they get
Yeah, that
powers.
sounds like X-Men though. More so
But
like
X-Men is more genetic though, where it's like from birth you have your powers basically. This is
this
more
is
like
kind of like
only through
I'm kind of
stressful
thinking
situations.
more of like a inhuman situation. Like something triggers it, like a Terrigen mist or like
Oh, like so it's like Static Shock, the Bang Baby thing.
yeah, stuff like that. I don't know. Like okay, I think always easy solution to this is starting with the Nazis.
Yes, of course.
Because I feel like everything has to come from the Nazis, like
What the Nazis genetic testing.
genetic testing, stuff like that. Um, so what if we do this?
It's always the Nazis.
Before we continue, are you liking where this is going, or do you think this is just kind of not it?
So okay, so you wanted so just to specify, you want it to be like a special event that grants powers. It's not genetic. You're not more likely to have it. It's just like a random event gives people powers.
Kind of,
So
but more
like
so
if
along the lines.
Chernobyl happened and people got powers because of it.
Basically, my idea is this event happens, and then years down the road, you know, superpowers start to develop because of it.
So maybe it's like a I don't know, solar flare or something. Does something. I don't know how
Something like that.
science works. But
We just need a vent,
a what's it
which
called?
with the
A
Nazis is hard because that's so long ago, but also if we are
so
planning
long
on doing an
ago.
event, well, it's not that
That's
long ago, but
uh that was like
it's
that was like 80 years ago. Sorry, no, yeah. Yeah, no, it's like 80 years ago.
but like what do we want to do? Do we want to make it where like superpowers come out like years later, or do we want to like make it where this modern event happens that causes superpowers?
Well, do you want it to be like a known link to where it's like, oh, so instead of it being like My Hero, where like quirks are just randomly showing up genetically for people, it's more like we know why they're randomly showing up because there was this event that had happened prior.
Okay, I have an idea.
Okay,
We bring it way back, way back, just
way
at
back.
the origin of our world. So in our world,
The Big Bang.
not that far back.
Okay. You said all the way far back. I was like, okay, the Big Bang
in the beginning.
in the beginning.
So we go to kind of like a origin of our world and where Homo sapiens are a thing. What if what time
Okay.
period do we want to do?
Okay, so you just brought up Homo sapiens. So are you like trying to say there's like another Homo species? It's
Well,
like similar to
well,
humans, but
technically, if
ain't
we're
the
at
same.
like towards the beginning of our Earth, there would be like the Neanderthals as well. But
Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
Well, okay, like
What time period?
okay, so let me tell you one other thing that I'm just gonna tell you about Young Justice. They brought up the Homo Magi, which are like the humans that have magical abilities and how they're separate than like regular humans, right? Um, is that what you were like kind of getting at?
I don't know what I want to do.
Okay, well let's what were you gonna say?
Okay, I have this concept.
Okay.
I like the idea of including history, right?
All right.
So what if these mythological figures, such as Hercules, Achilles, Thor's a god, that wouldn't be a good example.
Like the demi-human
Yeah,
or sorry, demigod.
what if they're actually like they get their power from a source of some sort?
Being Greek.
No, no. Yes, being Greek gives you powers.
Uh
So
yeah.
whether
So
it's
in legends it would be the gods, technically speaking. Right?
or what if we
At
go the
least.
route that they somehow got their powers from something? Whether it was genetic manipulation or like mutation or
So I don't think there's there would be genetic manipulation from, all the
well
way
yeah, because
back then.
scientifically it's not advanced enough. It'd just
Yeah.
be genetic mutation. Or even, like someone like Samson, we could do that too. Because that's the example of like Hercules and then Samson. So it's like, oh, these powers are popping up in different types of the worlds, but also I don't know if I want to go that far back. It depends on what you want to do. Give me some of your ideas
So
because I feel like I've
are
been talking a
you
lot.
I feel okay, so
Well, what
are
do you want
we
to do? Do you want to involve history? Do you want to just make it more of a modern thing that's
I
going
feel
on?
like okay, so are we going for a story to where or like a universe to where the powers are just showing up and the world is in like not shambles, but is in like trying to figure out like what the heck's going on? Or are we in a world where it's been years and now it's like calmed down? Or even before that, where like there's just some people who have these powers and it's not explained.
It depends. What do you want to do?
I want it to be more modern, I would
You
say.
want it to be more modern. So, if we want to, we can go back to the history, but we should come up with an idea that's more modern.
So I so maybe just spitballing here. Maybe we have it to where there's this one dude who is like this terrorist, right? And
Okay.
you wanted the idea of like these events are like special events give people the powers. What if there's this terrorist guy who uh has abilities because he did like he's like a former scientist who did like a bunch of testing and gained these powers and he's like oh it went crazy with his powers and he's like oh I want the world to be like me. So he sets up a bunch of, I guess, bombs around the globe, right?
The thing
To
is, do
go
you want
off.
it to be more of a low key thing, or do you want it to be a mass thing? Like, do you just want some heroes to show up and like protect civilians, or do you want it to be like everybody has powers?
I don't want it to be as common as My Hero, but I want it to be more common than like the Justice League being the only people around with powers. You know what I mean?
So, like, what percent of the population are you thinking?
Um, 30%.
30%. That's quite a bit. Um,
See, I was thinking though that if 30% have the powers, it's still not a majority. So it's not like it's completely accepted, but there's enough people to where there would be like, they wouldn't be outcasts, right?
hmm.
And I
I'm
want that to
interested,
be more of
but
a
also it's like
okay. So let me clarify something. Are we making a world or is this a story?
so this is a world. We're just like focusing on the world, how
The
different
world.
superheroes would get their powers, which maybe we shouldn't go like the gene route. Maybe we should just go freak accidents happen here or here and like I don't know, because I was thinking more so like a minority of the population, just because
Okay.
then you have the arc of like, the Magneto character, like we're a higher evolution, we should be taking over these people, or like they should be serving us.
Yeah.
That's the tough part. Um
So I think our biggest problem is figuring out how the powers happen. So we don't want to like copy like any of the biggest things. Like we don't want it to be like, oh, it's a groovy mutation. We don't want to
okay,
be
what about
Professor X
this?
with it. Yeah.
I know you want it to be more modern, but I kind of want to connect it to the past as well.
Okay.
Every so many years, be it 1,000, 200, 500, people are granted superpowers.
Granted, as in given powers by whom?
Well, the thing is, it can't be by a being, right?
No, Mr. Manhattan giving people powers. No
Dr.
Big Blue
Manhattan
Man.
just, yep, you can have some powers, you can have some powers.
Yeah.
But what if there are these artifacts? Be it they were stones made into artifacts or just artifacts.
Oh,
Um,
Power Ranger morphers.
yes, obviously.
Um, so you want it to be like almost like Vixen.
Ye- I want it to be by chance though. I don't want people to know these artifacts are what grants powers, right?
Would it be like the equivalent of like a long time ago? There was like, oh, you know what? This reminds me of something actually. You don't know about this, but in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, um, so the show starts out, as like a vampire and like martial arts thing.
Mhm.
But it turns into basically there's these things called stands, which I've mentioned this before, which is like when it's your fighting spirit projected, and it's limited to people kind of like randomly, and only stand users can see each other's stands. But what I'm getting at is that later in future seasons, it's shown that how people actually get their powers, besides like just naturally, randomly getting it sometimes, is there's these special arrows that a long time ago were forged from meteorite, and these arrows carry like basically alien bacteria that when someone is hit with one of those arrows, um, they either die or they gain a stand ability.
That's cool. I like that.
So
Um,
something similar to that, but what I was
so what
thinking,
I'm thinking, okay, go for it. You go for
well,
it
I was
first.
thinking it more like a mix of that with Green Lantern rings,
I was kind of thinking that too. That's interesting that you said that. Um,
where it's like almost there's like different rings or different amulets or different like accessories, I guess, where it's like it's a specific attribute that only people with that like attribute are able to use it.
Oh, can access the power.
So it's like you have a really greedy person, right? They encounter like, I don't know, Ring of Avarice, and they're kind of like that greedy Orange Lantern, right? I forgot what his name is, but like it
Well,
doesn't affect their mind necessarily. It's just like it grants them powers for having this as their biggest attribute to their being, right?
okay. What about this? This is a ridiculous concept. And you
All
can
right.
say no. You can say no. I'm just throwing some ideas out there.
Okay.
The Earth as we know it, a cataclysmic event has happened, right?
Okay.
I particularly would like to use a flood because, there's mass flood stories everywhere, right?
Oh, for a second, I thought you meant. Okay, yeah.
Or
Flood.
we could even use a meteorite or the Ice Age or something like that.
Okay.
Um,
A
before
nuclear
this
winter.
happened, something. Before this happened, there was a highly advanced civilization, right?
Okay.
And they have started, like, they found the ability to genetically modify beings and whatever. And what if they had the opportunity to imbue an object with a power? And if that power reflected the person that touched it, they would gain those attributes.
So they enchant
Yes, basically.
and imbue.
And then I know this sounds kind of ridiculous. That's why I'm just like, you're welcome to say no. But the idea behind it is, you know, people realize like maybe this is gonna end poorly, right? Like this is happening, so I'm gonna create powers and put them onto an object, right? With magic or with science, however you want to go. But anyways, when
Techno
someone,
sorcery.
yeah, we could do that, yeah. But whenever someone who has similar attributes to the specified requirements comes in contact with the object, they gain the powers.
Do they have to like hold on to the object, or is it just like it transfers from the object to them?
It transfers the powers into them.
So the object is basically useless after the transference.
It depends what you want to do with it. Are you liking the idea or no?
Yes, but I would make some adjustments.
Okay, go for
So,
it.
like, let's say there was this ancient people who, like a lost civilization, right? There's tons of those
Mhm.
in the world, so we could easily fit it into a modern kind of world,
Like
like in the
Atlantis
past.
or something like that,
Yeah,
or
something like that. Atlantis. Um, they used techno sorcery or sorcery or ancient technology or whatever to craft these special um, vessels, is what I'll call them, that are storing powers or magic or whatever we want to call it. And they do have to be like connected to a certain attribute so that one person couldn't get all the powers, right? So it's equally
Mhm.
split. But I would say you should have it to where they have to either they have to like keep it on their person to use the abilities, or they get the powers for a limited amount of time and they have to recharge it like a lantern.
Kind of like the recharging thing.
So it's like let's say let's say a ring as an example, because it's similar to Green Lantern stuff, right? Let's say you have a ring. You're in a museum, and for some reason, well, let's say you're a really, let's see, just full person. Would that be an attribute? You're very like
Justice? Like you're very.
just full person, like you seek justice,
Hmm.
and
Okay.
because that's an attribute.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say, for an example, that and these rings and amulets of this lost civilization have been recently found are stored at the London Museum of Natural History. And then you have a person just walking by, and all of a sudden they get like this want or desire to go to this museum. And the reason why is because the ring or amulet, probably ring, that is of their attribute is calling to them.
What if it imbues something on them, like it imbues like a ring they're wearing, or it imbues like a necklace or something?
Like it
Just so,
like instead of them basically having this ancient thing on them, it's like
yes,
it
it like transfers the power into something else if it finds it
that's
worthy.
more modern, so it fits in.
Yeah, just because, like, I'm thinking a lot of times, like, if you're in a museum, you're not going to be able to take the artifact,
Yeah. So like it just transfers over to my Rolex, you
Or
know?
like it transfers like into something that you would wear,
Ah,
kind of,
okay.
or like, a tattoo is burned into your skin or something. Something that's just on you, right?
Yeah. And like that was a specific example. Like it doesn't have to be in like a
Yeah.
museum because I'm sure it's scattered
Yeah,
across
I'm
the
just
world, right?
saying, like, so you don't have to carry around these heavy artifacts, or you
Yeah.
know what I mean.
So, but like, what kind of powers would they even be given, though? You know what
So
I mean?
this is kind of an interesting thing. So depending on how you want to do this, I know you said like a lost civilization. What if you wanted to do like all the we could either do like all these legendary people throughout time or a lost civilization, right? Um imbued or enchanted these artifacts with certain qualities, and throughout time they develop different powers or something.
So, would it be like an example is they forged a special spear, and let's just say add the ability of invincibility for the user, and uh, a man named Achilles picked it up along the way
Yeah.
and gained invincibility.
Mhm.
But then he let's say dropped his spear or something, or he didn't have it, he had to recharge it or whatever, and that's when he got his heel hit, right?
Or even like the water he was sunk into was imbued due to an artifact being present.
That
And
could be it too.
you know something happened. We don't have to get into the specific part of that yet, why Achilles died or whatever, but like even like Hercules, was imbued with these godlike powers that manifested over time. Merlin, uh to get on like the darker side, Dracula was imbued with this power.
This kind of reminds me of Noble Phantasms from Fate, which I think I probably told you about, where it's like um the heroic spirits that fight in the Hill Holy Grail war. They have either special weapons that are considered noble phantasm or like abilities that they use,
Mm-hmm.
and they like grant certain abilities and stuff like that. It's kind of like similar to it, except it's not exactly the same. I just was saying that it reminds me of that.
Or we could even do. So if you want to do uniqueness for power, right? Instead of someone enchanting an object with a specific power, right? They enchant an object that would grant powers, but based on
The person,
the person, it gives different powers.
so it's like, oh, your, I don't know, your watch absorbed the power of this spear, and it's like, oh, the former user had.
Well, no,
Wait,
like
are we
it would
doing?
transfer onto something like. What if we even did? I know you don't like tattoos.
Well, I mean, would it be like an example? Is it the powers from each person who's had it before carries on to the newest person?
Yeah, that would be cool.
So it's
So
like
like,
one
say
for
Merlin had
all
the
for.
powers first, and he passed away. Like that power got added to the collection, and then someone gets Merlin's powers, and now they
And they have
have
Merlin's powers and everyone's powers from
yeah.
before Merlin.
Which I
I
think that
like
would
that.
be very compelling because like what if like a villain got like a very interesting power? But we got to come up with a requirement because
Well, the requirement is you have to have a certain attribute, right? So, like an example again, um, this is probably the easiest one. If you're a really greedy person, all the previous people who have the only people that have been able to use this artifact are people who had a greedy attribute. Like that's the biggest part of
what it
what makes them them.
what about this? They have to have an attribute and they also have to be along they have to have a certain bloodline, something or other.
I don't know about doing bloodline because
I
I feel
know
like
that's a little complicated because everything is so mixed in, but
I feel like the idea of where it's like they have to fulfill some kind of
but I also like the
character
idea
check
that like the attribute can
almost.
take different shape in people, right? Because
Well, okay. Here's an example, right, of where we can have that variety mixed in. Let's say an example again. Okay. Um, justice. People have different definitions of justice, right? But their main thing is
yeah,
justice. Let's say, for an example, I went with a uh, person who's more about redemption justice, where it's like, oh, you're going to jail, or the next person who gets it is about killing people justice. Like I will,
yeah,
like
like
Moon
the
Knight,
Punisher or
Batman,
something.
different. Yeah.
Um, what my problem with this thing is now, like, why wouldn't it pick someone else who has this attribute? Because there's billions of people in this world, right? Or there has been billions of people. Why did
hmm
it not attach to someone else before then? You know?
Well, maybe the recent person that died, right? Or maybe it's kind of like how, like, let's say, Green Lantern Ring seeks out the next user. So it's like it picks one person and like calls to them.
Okay. So this is my example for maybe a bad side effect.
hmm
Dracula, for example. We're gonna use Dracula just because I feel like it's Dracula was a very ambitious person. You know, that was the requirement. You gotta be ambitious.
Okay, I
But he
like
was
it.
ambitious in the way that he was willing to sacrifice others to get to the top. So and now he has to feed on others in order to stay alive.
Okay,
Like, does that make sense? But he's granted all these powers.
Yeah, so there's like some kind of besides a like requirement to even be chosen. You have to have it requires something of you.
Well, not
To keep the power.
necessarily. Like, if your heart and soul is not exactly perfect, then you're given like a curse.
Oh, so like it's almost like a mismatch where it's like you weren't the person. Oh, how about this? So after the former user
You see what I'm
dies,
saying? That's why it's so hard to be like, oh, it has to be a certain attribute because attributes are played out in different ways.
well, let's say it's like this, right? Because you just give me an idea. So it wants like a specific person who's like um ability or attribute matches up with it, and it could be any of like a limited amount of people, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if someone gets to it before and they encounter it and it attaches to them first, then there's like a side effect, right?
Okay. Like,
So it's like if venom like attaches to like the first host that it can find, but it has perfect host that it prefers.
yeah, I see what you're saying. Um,
But it's less sentient than
what
venom.
if like more so it's a process of like, do you think you are worthy for
So
this
it's like a
power or
test.
whatever? And then like they're like, I'm willing to accept and sacrifice or whatever. And if they accept and it's not, it also gives them a curse because they were not worthy with.
Okay, so it's not that there's any specific person or people. It's like if you encounter it,
If you match the attributes, agree to the terms, and then you're granted the power, I guess.
yeah. But if you don't match it and
Then,
you still like accept it,
well, you
you're
can't not match it. You have to match an attribute, right?
yeah.
I don't know about the attribute thing. Maybe it's just
It's like
because I
is
kind
it
of
just
want the
like
power.
is it like an
I don't.
omnitrix from like Benton just
Yeah,
attaches to whoever?
I kind of like that because like I want the powers to manifest in different ways. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But also, like, I feel like there has to be some form of like, okay, this is how you get it. This is required. Like, there has to be some form of requirement. Like, why has this not got passed on to someone else? You know?
Yeah. Maybe it's like this. The former
What
user
what if
sets the new requirement.
what if it's an intense emotion? If you have intense emotions,
So it's like it doesn't attach to you until you have that intense emotion.
yeah. So
So like
basically, no one is cares about justice as much as this person, right? And it can
mhm,
sense that there's such a intense emotion, so it chooses to bond with that person.
yeah. Or maybe it's like someone is like getting just attacked at this one place and for some reason there's an artifact nearby. It senses their fear and it's
Mhm.
like I will attach to this person and that gives them powers.
Because what if like emotions like have effects on the artifacts, right?
Mhm.
But intense emotions are the ones that like I guess kind of
Attract
like
them.
wake up. Yes, because you know I don't know, maybe it's their society they lived in or whatever. It's just like or something went wrong and the spell only is attracted to intense emotions rather than every emotion that like is good or bad or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, and I just want it to manifest in a way that it's, like, different in every person, you know?
Hmm.
Do you like it so far, or is this kind
I
of just
do. I do like it. I'm
okay,
just
I didn't know if you were
afraid.
liking it.
I'm afraid of the limit, though. How many people are we allowing to have powers here? Because there's only so many people that can have these powers then, right? So we want it to be very limited. Is that what we're going
Mhm.
for?
Well, yeah, I would think so because, you
Okay, so like
know,
only like
you
10
still want the
people.
idea I like the idea of, like, like Superman. Superman is it or Spider-Man even, like, Superman or Spider-Man. With great power comes great responsibility. Not everybody has this great power, so they don't have the responsibility that comes with it.
Yeah.
Like, I kinda like that, like, like, that thing, you know?
Uh-huh.
And, I don't know.
I mean, I think it works. My only thing is, are they aware of the history? Like, does it download information into the person, or is it just like they have to figure it out themselves?
I don't ooh, that's a good question. What do you think?
So maybe, see, I was thinking, does it provide you with like a AI, like gives you information on things, where it's like, oh, uh, I feel like I didn't want it at first to be sentient, but maybe the artifact is sentient and serves their new master, whoever that may be.
Yeah.
So it's like it's almost like a Jarvis, like for any person who has the
Like, if they
like
have
that.
any questions, then it's just like, okay. Or
Yeah,
they automatically know certain things. I don't know about it being sentient either because I feel it's like, oh, well, it's not their power, it's the sentient object's power that's been given to them, you know?
yeah.
So maybe it's just like,
Is it just like a My Hero thing where it's like you have to figure out the powers on your own each step of the
yeah,
way?
they just have to figure out or, something. I don't know. I feel
I think
like
that's good
there
though.
has to be another requirement as well, just because it's like, why would someone else that has experienced intense emotion I guess like a pure emotion, I should say. Like a pure
The only
like
problem is like the circumstances of that situation, right? Because like if there's an artifact and it's grief, the only time someone's gonna be able to connect to it is if that person is like pure grief in that moment, right?
yeah.
So let's I think before we get too in specific with the actual um like what's it called? The circumstances of each of the abilities. I'm opening up a Google Doc right now so we can talk
Okay.
about how many of them there are. How
I
many?
just feel like, I do want it to be unique depending on the emotion, but it's also like, well, it needs a requirement, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
So how many people could possibly have these powers at the same time?
golly. Um, I think it depends, as the story goes on, you have to add more people, right? But to begin with, let's say like 12 people.
12 people.
Or maybe 10. We could do.
I'm gonna put the doc link there so you can look at it too.
Okay.
So 12.
I'm requesting access.
Oh, my bad. Let me share it to just be open. Let's see here.
But
Sorry,
like
it's been a minute since I've shared it. Okay, change to anyone. Okay, good. Should be good now.
I kind of like the idea that like emotions aren't inherently good or bad, right?
Yeah.
You can feel emotions for a good reason or a bad reason. Like you could feel complete bliss for like just killing people, which is like a
Depends
very
on the
extreme
person.
example. Yeah. I kind of like it how it manifests differently in certain people, but it has to be like a pure emotion.
So would these people would there be inherent conflict with each of these people? Or is it
I think so because first of all, who's the most powerful like kind of historical fictional character you can think of?
most powerful?
Yes.
Oh. Um
Things that come to
specifically
mind are
like
Merlin,
fictional or like just
or like
legendary figures?
legendary figures.
Who's yours? You were
I
gonna
have
say
things
something.
that come to mind are like Merlin, Hercules,
Yeah, stuff like that.
but I don't know who the most powerful.
Well, I know who the most powerful heroic spirit and fate is.
Who?
Gilgamesh. Do you
Really?
know who that is?
Oh, that makes sense. The Epic of Gilgamesh.
Yeah, who's like the first legendary person ever. You know?
That would make sense because Gilgamesh has like some insane feats, but what would Gilgamesh powers be? Gilgamesh.
Oh. Uh, Let me tell you, I just thought of his fate abilities. Oh my gosh, he's broken as heck. Let me, let me, let me.
His
Not that.
levitation, flight, extreme longevity, virtual
Um.
indestruction. He can emit blasts of light from whatever.
So let's see here. Like one example, it's kind of like similar. I keep bringing up Noble Phantasms, but like these would not be like what the abilities are for our story, but one person, uh, Alexander the Conqueror, right? Or
Mhm.
sorry, Alexander the Great, Iskandar the Conqueror, same person. Are like their ability was to command mass army of people that they had knew in life. So like an example is so like in the world, a heroic spirit is just like legendary figures, right? Alexander the Great, because he was such a great conqueror, knew so many of these legendary figures that he's able to call them to fight for him. So where usually there would only be like 7 of these legendary people fighting each other in a battle royale. His special ability is like for limited time, he calls like millions, right? Gilgamesh, I mean not millions, thousands. Gilgamesh beats him easy, which is crazy. Because one thing with Gilgamesh is because in the show, at least, they call him um, King of. Let's see here, King of Heroes.
That's pretty crazy. Okay, getting back to the video. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so I see your point with the fate stuff. I don't know if I want to do the powers imbued from others anymore, because I don't want to make it too similar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think
Like, I
what would
kind of
make it
want to,
different
but I
though,
don't.
I think what
Okay.
would make it different though is that instead of a one person, having like all these abilities, it's built up from multiple people, right? Like
Kind of like one for all. Or no, sorry,
I
all for
yeah, I
one.
guess yeah, pretty much like that, where it's like it carries on from person to person, making it stronger.
Okay.
So
I'm gonna request edit access to the document.
oh my gosh.
But anyways, kind of the idea of maybe Gilgamesh was a person who passed down the ability, not passed down the ability, inherited the ability multiple times,
Should fix that.
and that was kind of like um, the first, I guess,
Hmm.
power thing. What if the evil person has those
So
abilities?
well, if an evil person like gained one of the well, let's go over the requirements, like the base requirements, before going into specifics, right? Um, now let me make sure that I'm also recording the screen we're working on. I'll just cut out the top part so no one can edit it later. Um, would it? Okay, so the requirements are probably spelling this wrong. Let me put some space in between us for those two things. So that's the actual like specific ones. But the requirements, it's that you must exhibit a pure emotion
Mm-hmm.
of the attribute, or not the attribute. Is it? Let's see here. Must with the. Is it just attribute or is it a feeling? A feeling, right?
Emotion.
Emotion. So that would limit it to like there wouldn't be justice, but there could be vengeance. Because you can vengeful is an emotion.
Yeah.
So it must exhibit the emotion of the I'm gonna call it a vessel. Is what I'm gonna call it. Of the vessel.
Okay. Fair enough.
Any other
I think
requirements?
um and the previous user must be dead or have given up their
Yes.
abilities.
I feel like is this something you should be able to give up? Like I feel like you should
Yes.
almost be locked in.
You think so?
See, I guess yeah, you would have to be able to give it up. I feel like it should be hard, like a hard thing to do. Like you must
Yes, I
lose
agree.
something to give it up.
Sorry.
Must be dead or have given up the ability. How about this? This is gonna get a little crude, but if you give up the ability, you lose one of your senses. You may lose your eyesight, your ability to like feel, maybe your smell, something like that.
Mm.
Or maybe not even just a sense. You lose a part of your body.
Well, no. What about you must imbue it into an object so you can pass it. You know.
Okay, imbue it into an object, but I think there should be some consequence
Well, the
for giving
consequence
it up.
is you die now. Like you lose your ability, and then also you probably die right after that.
Why
You
would you
know,
die right after that?
because if you think the ability isn't like if you're done with the ability, then you're just like done. Like
How about this? If you give up the ability, you lose memory of the ability.
okay, that too. Yeah.
So it's like you give it up, but then your memories are erased of ever having the ability.
Perfect. And okay, so our main bad guy. Um,
Well, it doesn't have to be a main one. Okay, so
our most powerful
are
villain.
we doing the vessels in mind of like their abilities and previous users and not who will have them? Because you could have it to where like the most evil one that like most people who are evil have used now is being used by a good guy.
Yeah, like of course you could, but it would still remain as the power. I'm just gonna go 6 and 6 because I feel like that would be easy.
Okay. Um so do you want to average it to where like how many people who
Oh, goodness.
have had the abilities?
Um, well, no, some have been found more so than others.
Yeah.
I'd say though, one of our
Mhm.
heroes, I think this is gonna be like a very interesting sort of thing. One of our heroes finds a brand new one.
That hasn't been like
Yeah,
used in a long time.
that has never been used.
Never been used. Do you want it to
Yes.
be like so there's 12 of them, but then the guy finds the 13th? You know what? I feel like it should be like a thing where when you gain access to one, you become aware of there being more people and how many of them there are, right?
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
it's like let's
but
say
you don't know where they are.
you don't know where they are, but it's like let's say a villain, like let's say number 5 over there has been like hunting and trying to kill people, but he was waiting until everyone has an ability, like all of them have been found. So then he's like, ah, number 12 has finally been awakened or something, right?
Yeah.
And maybe
Well, also,
like
there's probably gonna be more than 12 in the world, right? It's just like this one was one that was never found because,
well, yeah, there's gonna be
this guy.
there's gonna be 12 like things, but then there's a 13th one that was just found, I guess.
Yeah, but also, like, to expand the universe, there's probably gonna be more, and like something's gonna happen. Either we divide up the powers, like everything resets and creates more, or like something is where
So you don't want it limited to
that
just 12
others.
people having abilities.
Not exactly yet. We could others have them too. Um, so you know, one of our villains is gonna have. Gosh, forgive me.
Are you trying to spell Gilgamesh?
Yeah.
Gil, Ga,
Oh, sorry. GI.
Gilga, and then Mesh, I think.
I think you're right. Um, powers
I mean,
plus they need the
Gilgamesh isn't
durability.
necessarily even a villain. That's just how he is in Fate.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, he's not gonna. Gilgamesh is the hero, but the person who gets it is a villain.
Oh, a
Just
villain.
because I think
Okay.
we don't know their names. So I'm just establishing their powers.
Do you want to like have it kind of reversed, where like typical heroic people are, their
Well, I
abilities are
think
being used by bad people?
of course it's just random, right?
Okay.
I think it'd be interesting if this is just another one. Sorry. Um, new powers entirely, but they're kind of over OP powers.
And that's
Like
the
matter.
yeah. See if that.
And then
I'll, so you want 7
I think it would also
of the
be
hero
interesting track the
then?
powers plus yeah, I don't know.
See, it wouldn't be just Gilgamesh's powers, though, right? 'Cause someone would have to have the power after Gilgamesh,
Yeah, that's why I
right?
added a plus sign.
So Dracula for the second.
Yeah, just for a hero. I think that would be a very interesting
Okay.
character. Um um, you know,
Medusa.
ooh, should we make it a hero or a villain though?
Typically she is a villain, but I don't know. It could be interesting having a hero one.
I know that's what's so interesting. It's like, what if villain powers were like hero powers or whatever? But it's also like we don't solely want to do that because it is random by chance, you know?
Yeah. How about this? I open up a coin flipper on the side, and
Okay.
we'll have it there to where like and I'll tell you if it's heads is good, tails is bad.
Okay, I'm going to. Sorry, just gonna.
So it's flipping for Medusa. It says tails,
So bad.
so bad. One thing is, I don't want it to be like too much of like Fate characters, but
I
I'm telling you
know.
now, all all the three of these people have been in Fate. But the reason why I think it's okay is because Fate basically just monopolized all the legends, right? So it's not even that we can't use these legends. It's just that Fate has so many different shows that it uses so many legends. You know what I mean?
Mhm. I know what you're saying. That's why I like the idea of having someone completely new.
Yeah.
But I guess Fate did have that too, didn't they?
Um,
Like a future hero or something.
with like what?
They had a future hero,
Yeah.
and that's also gets into the idea of you know them having different powers. You know, they'll have additional powers onto the ones. And also, we can change Gilgamesh's powers. Like,
Oh
we
yeah.
haven't
Yeah. It's
decided what
definitely
Gilgamesh's
gonna be
powers
different.
are.
It's gonna
We
be
haven't
different.
decided what Dracula's powers are yet, you know? We haven't
Yeah.
decided what Medusa's powers are. Um,
Do we
she could
wanna
be
do we
shape-shifting, she could, you know.
see here's my thing. Do you want to stay away from gods?
Um, I don't know. Because they seem a little too OP.
Yeah.
What if we do Merlin next?
Okay. Let me flip. Heads.
Okay, well, that works out. I like that. I wanted Merlin's powers to be a good guy. What else? We could do. Who has very interesting powers? Hercules, obviously. We can do Hercules, Samson. You know,
I mean,
just different
Hercules.
powers.
So maybe it's like this, right? I mean, not to like do on Samson, but maybe Samson acquired the powers of Hercules from the same vessel.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
And so it doesn't make it exclusive. It's just like they have similar powers, and maybe Samson added something onto it.
yeah. So let me see if he's good or bad though. Heads.
Ooh, okay.
It's getting stacked over there.
I mean, yeah. Heracles.
Oh,
Do
you
we
said
want
it
to
that
use the
way.
Roman name?
Okay.
Do we want to use the Roman name, or what do we want to do?
It doesn't really matter.
You're right. Plus something else.
So we don't
Um,
want. Do we? Oh, I guess if it was modern, they would be in the later parts of it, right? So we want like foundational, ancient world, to
Well,
like
we don't even have to
medieval.
do fine. We can do like newer stuff. Like, is there any like legends that you've heard of?
Um, I mean, are
You
you
know,
like I don't. It's kind of hard because if you use people that have lived in the past 200 years, they're not going to have like these abilities, right? When you think of like a hero,
yeah, but there's also potential to that where like we could do
like
someone like
an ex.
Einstein, you
Yeah,
know,
I
or
mean, I know
Nikola
like.
Tesla, and they just
Well,
have like insane intelligence.
yeah, I mean, like, I think I may have mentioned this to you, not to talk about fate too much, but Shakespeare, they used
Hmm.
Shakespeare at one point, and his ability is to like put you in a play, basically. But then he's also like his second ability is he can craft a noble phantasm, which are those special weapons. Like that's his thing. So maybe not everyone is like a fighter, right? Because their abilities
Yeah.
wouldn't all be fighting.
What if
One
we did
person I can think
Tesla,
of, Tesla. Do you want me to
and he'd
flip?
have like electrical powers plus like you know he'd be like a
Okay.
genius.
So I flipped and it said heads.
Are you
Um,
fucking serious? Okay,
just
we're just gonna put it and maybe rearrange it.
yeah, yeah. Um, so I was thinking the Red Baron.
Red Baron, like the pizza.
Uh, You're you're joking, right? You gotta be. There's no way.
He was like a pilot, right? But
Oh
like,
my
I don't know.
gosh, you don't know about the Red Baron?
No, I don't. I'm gonna be honest.
Okay, let me look up the specifics so I can shock you. So
I
the
know he
Red
was like a
Baron,
super good pilot.
um, was a fighter pilot with the German Air Force during World War One. He is considered the aces of all aces of war, being officially credited with 80 air combat victories.
Huh.
Like literally, if you were in the air and you saw the
That's
Red Baron, you'd
insane.
get scared.
That is insane. So heads or tails?
Let's see. Tails
Okay.
had to happen to him because it had to stop being heads. Poor Red Baron,
Um.
a German, now a villain.
So who else? Who else? Um.
Probably should have some what's it called? More eastern places now. Maybe for the rest.
Yeah. What if we
Um
did the gen? Like there's no specific gen. You know what I'm talking about, like genies and stuff like that. But I also feel like
yeah, that's
that's too broad.
yeah, that's Western. I don't well no. You know what? I have one person from Africa I could think of.
Who?
Hannibal.
Okay.
You know, the guy who like brought elephants to
Yeah.
Rome and beat them up until he wasn't beating them up.
What would his powers be though?
Maybe he controls animals.
Oh, that'd be cool. Okay, heads or tails?
Okay, let's find out.
I feel like that's such a hero power though.
Tails.
What the heck?
All the villains now. We're all gonna be villains.
Okay, I have one.
Mm-hmm.
Peter Pan.
Um. Um. Uh.
Jack Frost.
Hmm. Hmm. But um, he was like invented like pretty recent, and he I don't know. I mean, if you really
Frost?
want it, I'll be okay with it.
We could do Santa Claus.
Uh, he would have to be Russian. Have to be.
Is that the one? Is that the one caveat that you're adding
Yeah,
in?
yeah. It
Okay,
has to be Russian.
I guess so.
Let me flip. He's good. Heads.
I wanted a bad Santa Claus character.
Too bad. Um, I do think we should have one person who's like not really much of a
Neutral.
fighter, but more of a charismatic. Like they have like mind manipulation or something. So like Abraham Lincoln, or just some really powerful speaker.
Abraham Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln. Yeah.
He's probably the best speaker. I mean, I don't want to say Martin Luther King. That would be kind of weird. I feel like that's
Well,
one
let's
we
see
cannot
if
do.
Abraham
No,
Lincoln's
no.
a good or bad guy.
What powers does Abraham Lincoln have? I feel like there's so much mythology behind Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, he's tall.
Okay, we can do Abraham Lincoln.
So I flipped tails. He is evil. Or his powers are being used for evil. Um, let's get some Asian people for the last two. Well, I guess
Okay.
not for the last hero, the last villain.
Monkey King.
Monkey
That'd be freaking
Sun
broken.
Wukong. He's pretty cool.
But he's a god, isn't
Yeah, believe so. I think what's it called? Maybe I mean I play too much Three Kingdoms, but like Lu Bu, maybe.
he? Who?
You know who that is? Lu Bu. Basically, he was this guy in ancient China. He's a real person, and he actually did this. Who was like this general in ancient China when there was like the warring states, and he went from general to general, betraying them, and like he was like known as like the greatest warrior of his time.
Okay, we
And
can do that.
yeah, I mean I don't think I described him well, but he's very strong, like a really good fighter. So like he would be the guy that like his former Like he got his powers from like Achilles, probably.
Okay, so I kind of like that because we can always add on powers to people. Like Abe Lincoln could get his powers from,
Jesus Christ.
no, we're not adding Jesus Christ. We're not
Adolf
gonna add
Hitler
Muhammad.
used his powers.
Oh no.
That makes sense. Like if a person who can manipulate many people with just his words.
We could do that. We could.
Abraham Lincoln's
Right.
power fell into evil with Adolf Hitler.
Okay.
And now,
that does make sense.
so it has to be like a German person, probably.
Well, no, anybody can have the power, right?
Well,
So
yeah, anyone could, and it's
who's the one guy going to be on? Is it? Oh, these tales.
well, I mean, the seventh person is a. I didn't even flip it because seventh person is the new powers, right?
Oh no, I added the new powers at the top.
Oh wait, what? How does this make sense? This is because you see 7, like there's 7 heroes, but only 6 villains.
Yeah, because you're like, there's 13.
13th with like the new power is what I had said. My bad.
Okay.
So
Just have
this is our lineup.
But this is only 12 with the new power.
Oh, you're right. My bad. I'm stupid twice. Okay, let me flip it. We'll see if he's good or bad. Okay, you got Tails anyways.
Okay.
So he's still there.
That's cool.
7th person.
It's evil. 7th person is evil.
You want the 7th person to be evil?
Well, yeah, we got Tails.
No, I got Tails for Lubu just now.
Oh, okay.
I did it for him.
Okay,
I mean,
so
let me flip now, just to find out if this last person is good or bad. I got Tails, so they are bad.
okay.
Leonardo da Vinci.
Da Vinci. I feel like that would actually be good for the villains to have someone like that.
Who's like a tinkerer that creates machines.
Da Vinci.
Da Vinci.
What?
Tesla. Da Vinci.
Would Tesla not be Da Vinci? Like,
oh, probably. Like honestly,
like he would inherit the powers from. But I say the power Tesla adds is electrical, like some type of electrical powers.
That was weird. Whatever just happened. I heard what you said.
So, okay, so what if we did? Okay, because this is just what I'm thinking, right? We're gonna expand on what characters added what powers, right?
Yeah.
Santa Claus, for example. We're gonna have. I know Peter Pan's modern, but we're gonna have. Who came first? Probably Santa Claus. So the ability to make materials, right, out of certain objects, right, which is kind of overpowered. Jack Frost is an inheritor of the power, so the ability to manipulate frost and ice, and then we can have Peter Pan, the ability to fly.
Oh, this is just the legends, basically.
Well, yeah.
So, wait, who was the 7th person though?
Peter
we
Pan.
Haven't decided that. 7th person is Peter Pan.
Oh no. No, Peter Pan would be added on to. And then we're gonna have to add a new power for that as well.
Well, let's see here. I'm looking at legendary people now. Blackbeard for villain.
Oh, that'd be so cool. Yeah. I like that.
His power, he can get drunk and still fight. There you go.
Um, so tell if you guys have any ideas in the comments, like who who's who should be in the line of these characters, like Tesla. We probably should write Da Vinci, then Tesla, or and then Einstein, or we need to write in the correct order or whatever. Da Vinci?
Vinci. Da
And
Vinci.
then
That's
but
how
if
you
you have
spell
any
it, right?
ideas for
Da Vinci.
Da Vinci, yeah, I think there's a space. If you have any ideas like who the inheritors of, or like who the different people before these people were, or after, just write it down in the comments. Like if you're like, oh well, I think Red Baron should have been from this, or Red Baron to this to that. Like maybe.
Yeah. And also, put in the comments what attribute or emotion they should have tied with them.
Very true. I feel like I think it'd be cool if Medusa would have like grief or something. That's why she turns everybody into stone.
Yeah, that could be cool.
Or sorrow, like intense sorrow. I don't know. Like I don't know. We'll see. We might have to change up some people just because.
I'm just typing what we're gonna be looking at next time.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna edit some and add some powers and different people because I think the new power is gonna be like an overpowered power. Of course, like he's just gonna be insane.
He can fragment abilities.
Imagine like take parts of powers he wants and give them to himself or something. Gosh, that'd be insane.
Or maybe
But,
he's just like a mimic.
Yeah, that'd be kind of crazy. But but I think this is a pretty good idea so far. Like I know it's kind of similar to Fate, but also we're gonna update the powers, and it's gonna be like, okay, well, this power came from here. Of course, with Gilgamesh, Gilgamesh is probably like the oldest hero, so it's just gonna be like, okay, people before him. It's not gonna be like necessarily, this person, that person, because Gilgamesh is just like insane. It's gonna be like, oh well, Gilgamesh got these powers from these people, and he added this power to it.
Or maybe the first one with the powers.
Yeah, who knows? But and we also have to add the abilities where like, this added on.
Yeah.
And like, so who knows? Hannibal could have the ability to manipulate the ocean. We could turn Hannibal into freaking Aquaman or something. But
you really want Aquaman?
Yeah,
He controls animals.
and controls the ocean tides. Anyways,
Okay.
just let us know. I think there's a lot of fun to be had within this universe.
I think it was a rough start, but
I agree.
usually, like what we always do, like whenever it involves our rewrites or something like that, it ends up being something good,
Yeah, I agree. Well, anyways, comment down below. Oh, also, don't forget to talk to someone about the question this week, and comment down below some ideas for this, because we really want to work with you all on this, because this is kind of, even though this is William and I's universe, like you guys watch the channel, we'd love your input. We'd love to hear your ideas, because of course this isn't like the greatest thing in the world, and we're not like perfect. So, well, I know I'm not. William might be, but
yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys next time.
You know what? I just want to say before we leave, I can name 11 members of the Jedi Council. So
I thought you only got 10. So
you know what? I can't count numbers though, but I can count masters.
Well, fair enough.
All right.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys next time.